It was good to go back and be able to look at some of the young guys and the players that played yesterday, who whether they're young or old. There were some good things we saw, and then there's some things we can work on. But I think overall, it gives you an opportunity to be better as an organization, as a football team. And I'll leave it at that. I'm proud of the work that our team's done up to this point. I know they know that there's more to be done, and so we'll get busy on that this week as coaches and as players. Had a team meeting this morning. Was able to. It's all virtual on Mondays and Tuesdays, but had an opportunity to visit with the guys and share some of this. So it's a strong field out there in the AFC, and so we look forward to that challenge. It's whatever one of the four teams that it's kind of narrowed down to, we would play the last seed of that's seeded in the AFC. So there are about four teams there that we would need to be ready for. We've already kind of started that process, had an idea of that going into this week. So we had a little bit of a jump start on it, but we'll go ahead and prepare ourselves. I mean, you look at the seventh seed in Indianapolis, and that's a good football team. So and you go right down the list, and they're all very productive and very strong. So, but like I said, we'll get busy on that this week, and we've got a couple practices set up, and then we'll go from there. All right, with that, time's yours.
Let's go first to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, I thought Byron's play yesterday was something that was kind of a bright spot. Do you think there's more ball for him later in this playoff run?
I'll tell you, I mean, he's done this before. So, I mean, he's a good football player, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, we try to work him in every place we can and give him opportunities. So, but he sure had a nice game yesterday, especially for a guy from Kansas State. Doggone it. I'm looking at your sweatshirt there when I say that.
Let's go next to Surin Petro. Good, Surin.
Coach, just housekeeping wise, is there any injury updates, anything you want to add to that?
You know, I would just say that Bake, you know, he had surgery. It went well. It's amazing what these doctors can do today. He had a broken femur. They did the surgery, and it looks like it was successful. He actually can do a little bit of weight bearing on it today, which I mean is something. It was if you're going to have a break, which is brutal, but if you're going to have one, it was a clean. It fit back together perfect, they said. So without being a doctor, I'm just telling you that the prognosis is good for him, which is important. He was actually playing very good, so we look forward to getting him back.
And then, as you've always been very good about your assistant coaches and getting them opportunities and getting them out there just for fans. How can you just walk through how it works for Coach Bieniemy to be in the job interviewing process? There are a couple of different reports out there that he's almost. How does that work? And you guys make it all fit with everything you got to do getting ready for the game as well.
Yeah. So Eric, he's got a couple, 3 different things that he's looking at, and there might be more as the day goes on. They come in kind of in groups here. So, but he'll take care of business today with a couple of them, and then move on with the remainders, and he's got a couple 3 days here to deal with before we actually practice on Thursday. So it's a good time to get that done. In the meantime, the assistants, we keep rolling. So we keep going and making sure that we pick up any time that he's not here. Now, you know how EB is. I mean, he's not going to let things get in the way. I mean, he's going to stay on top of everything if he has to stay up all night to do it. So he does a great job with all that.
Let's go next to Herbie Tiopi. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon. Along those same lines with Eric Bieniemy, I know you've always been an advocate for him to potentially land a head coaching job. But if you got an opportunity now to provide a message this third time around to prospective employers, what would it be?
I think he's top notch. I mean, at the risk of being redundant, I have not seen many guys that are as great a leader as he is of men. And in this business, that's huge. I mean, you're never going to have to worry about Eric Bieniemy, never, on the field, off the field. And he's going to be honest with you and straightforward. And then he knows the offense. So those are all important things. But to be a head coach, if you're going to survive in this business, you better be honest with the people you deal with, and you better have a plan for them. Guys want to know where they're at and where they're going, and most of us do. And when they don't have that put in place, then they drift, and then that's where teams fall apart. And so he knows how to do that part and do it well.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Brad, I'll have a quick follow-up to this one. Coach, hey, what should teams, I know you've had a lot of success with two organizations. What should teams be looking for in a happy marriage between a coaching candidate and what would be ownership and the GM?
Yeah, so somebody that can get along, it's a people business. And, I just think that to be able to unite, I think is important. And I think he has that ability. I mean, I watch it every day. So, I mean, I know he has that ability. And our offense is, and our football team, they're as tight as anybody around. And he talks to that offense every day. He stands in front of them and talks to them every day. And so I get to see it. And I've seen a couple coaches come and go, and listen, he does it as well as anybody. And then his presentation is strong. So when he has to talk the X's and O's part, that's very strong. And he's ready to make the move. I mean, that's where we're at today. But it's got to be a fit for an owner. And I've said this before. It's got to be that, guys talk about blinks, and somebody's got to have that blink and have that picture in their mind that Eric Bieniemy can go lead their organization, and they're comfortable with that. So I know owners do not like problems. They don't like problems. They're paying you money to do a job, and not have the load of the worry thrown on their lap. And so I know he can do that for somebody.
And then this was the follow from your memory, and it's been a couple of years now, but from your memory, why did you feel initially you and Clark hit it off? And then how has that grown over the years?
Yeah, well, I'd been in the league a while, so I had known the family before I came here. And I've said this before, I mean, which is true. I sat in those owner meetings, and there are just some people that I'd look at and I go, boy, if something ever happened, I was working for a great owner. If there's something that ever happened here, I could see myself working for those people. They're just good people. And the Hunts were one of those families. And I knew Clark, I knew his dad, and I just go, that it was kind of I'm not going to say a no-brainer, because you got to think about everything, but I already had the answers to the test, kind of. So just by knowing them.
Let's go next to Breland Moore. Go ahead, Breland.
Hey, good morning, Andy. Just a quick question. Actually, I have two. They're relatively the same, both on injury fronts. DeAndre Baker, you updated us on his physical condition, but have you spoken to him since the injury and since you updated us last night? How is he doing, mentally and emotionally? And then I just want to get your thoughts on Alex Smith. We talk about him several times throughout the course of the year, but I mean, coming back what he came through and then leading his team to playoffs last night, how incredible is that for you to see?
I'm so happy for him. I can't tell you. I mean, he's a beast, and just so mentally strong. And I'm so happy that he has a chance to, do this with Washington. They need him, and just his stability that he's brought. I mean, it's great for that organization. It's great for the NFL, and for him to battle through what he did is tremendous. And listen, Bake is he's actually I literally before I got on this call, a minute before I got on this call, I found out that he's actually in the building right now. And so I mean it's an amazing it's amazing deal. When you saw it on the field, which I was standing right there, these doctors, the things that they can do are incredible. And if you had to have a break, I guess this was the break to have because it fit back together well. And I think full recovery is, unless there are any setbacks here, full recovery is going to be a beautiful thing for him down the road, and he'll still be able to play and do the things he did before. So that's what I'm happiest about. Yeah.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, I know we've talked a lot about Eric Bieniemy in terms of his maybe possibly becoming a head coach, but you guys have a couple people in the front office, Ryan Tillis, Ryan Poles, guys that could be, Brent Tillis, that could possibly be moving on to general manager positions. I just wonder from your perspective, what is it about what they've done in your building that would perhaps give them success if they were to become a general manager through this hiring cycle?
Yeah, well, they've got time to draw on. So, an experience at seeing way a couple different things have been worked, and Scott Pioli very successful, and then John Dorsey, and then Brett Veach, and so they've got that to draw from, and to know exactly what direction they want to go, and for them to have a chance to work with Brett here the last little bit, I think has been a good experience for him. Brett's a great communicator, and he exhausts everything, and he brings that energy that you guys see every day. And he's for them to have that, I think is to at least see how he operates. It would be good for him going to these interviews. And then it's a tribute. Listen, it's a tribute to Clark and Mark Donovan and the organization on how it's presented to the league. And so people want your guys. It's that means Brett's doing something right there, and Clark hired Brett. And so that's a plus for everybody. And most of all for these guys. I mean, they've worked their tail off, right? So I don't want to, both of them have worked hard.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Todd and then Robert. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Coach, back on Eric. I mean, he's been through this process a few times. How much more prepared do you think he is right now, since he's been through it before with some interviews and gone through, learning a little bit more about being a coach? Is he more prepared now than he's maybe ever been? And if you could give him advice, I'm not specifically about a team, what sort of things would you tell him if he had a choice to make on franchises, if there's one out there that he might choose over another one?
Yeah, well, you kind of know if a team's interested in you as you get in there, and he has a good feel of that now. I mean, you don't know it when you first go in, but for your interview, but you have things to weigh here now, other experiences. And then I think he's being selective on what he does. So I think that's important. And what I tell you, yes, I mean, he's better. I mean, every day he does it, he's better. That's just how it goes. And it'll be the same way as a head coach. Every day he does it, he'll be better. And because he works at it. And my hat goes off to him for how he's attacked this thing. I just, as a coordinator, and his preparation for these interviews, I think, is tremendous too. So
We'll go last to Robert Rimson. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Coach. So now that the playoffs are here, what's the most important thing you learned from last year's run that you're bringing to this year's run in your quest to repeat?
Yeah, well, I think listen, I've been there before. I kind of know how that goes. I think for your team, You can stand there as a coach and tell the guys, hey, listen, it's going to be faster every step you take. The competition level is ridiculous. There might be a player or a side of the ball that you looked at during the season. They're just immediately today, you're going to get their best, and it's going to be faster and more aggressive and da da da. So those are things that to experience. You can't. I can like I said, you can stand there and say it, but for our guys to have experienced it, I think was the most important thing. And we have the majority of the team coming back, so it's now it's important that you just don't take it for granted that, oh yeah, we're going to up our game too. No, you got to work at it and bust your tail and dedicate yourself, be selfless and humble. All those things are important. So when you get into this, and everybody is going to give you their best shot plus some, and you get yourself doing the same thing.